Well, that was the biggest thing, man. I remember a couple months ago, I was at the grocery store looking for like stuff for dinner, and I'm like, oh, you know what sounds good? Like, like some soup or something, right? And I'm like, I wonder how I can make it keto. So I was in the store like looking for like a keto recipe, and had to scroll for like 20 minutes standing there in the aisle looking like an idiot just to like find what I needed. And I was so upset. So I just like the whole point of it is just to be straight to the point. Like, here's what you need, here's how to do it.
Speak to Stephen Downer. He's got an amazing Instagram page and his own website, which I'll put in the show notes below, so definitely check it out. He's a really funny guy. His page is hilarious. You'll check it out for yourself. You'll see him singing into his hand and stuff, doing some really great stuff. And then he's accomplished amazing things already. He's almost all the way to the original goal he set, and he talks about how to break through and stuff, how to keep motivated. So yeah, check it out. Without further ado, let's get to Steve Downer. So I guess start off, just kind of tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, give me a little introduction.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Steven, and I've been on keto now strictly for about a year. I dabbled here and there. Quite honestly, I've always struggled with weight. I remember when I was like 8 years old, my grandma looked at me and was like, "You're a fat little boy." And man, I was just like, I had like, I can always give the sob story, whatever, but I had like a kind of an unorthodox childhood. My dad passed when I was like 3 months old. My mom left when I was about a year old. So I just had a lot of anxieties and all that kind of stuff around that. And the one thing I could control, like so many other people, is just eating. Like I can eat snacks when I want to. I can do this, I can do that. And yeah, I got really big. When I turned 18, I started actually working for Coca-Cola as a merchandiser, which is a very like active position where you're like on your feet for 12 to 13 hours every day, stocking shelves, doing all that kind of stuff. And so I was in decent shape then, really just because of my activity level. And I mean, I was like 18, 19 years old. Once I got into like a more like sedentary lifestyle with my job, man, I just got bigger and bigger and bigger. We just had my son's 2.5 now. And
that's awesome.
When my wife was pregnant, I got all the sympathy weight that you could
so
get.
Did I. And actually when my kids were about that age, I also ate all their leftover pasta and whatnot. So that's, I can relate.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I was getting so big, and man, like I felt terrible all the time. Like I was like every night I had heartburn, and I've always had asthma like my entire life, but I was going downhill, and I didn't want to perpetuate that cycle again, right? Because like I didn't have like a great role model when it came to being active or healthy as a kid. And I really saw that my opportunity as a father, like I could do that for my son. I could set that example for him and live a happy and healthy life and introduce exercise. And so like from my front door all the way around the block to my front door again is exactly 1/3 of a mile. And so it's real easy to track. And so I'll run that, like just around that block, like over and over again. And it's funny, when my son goes out there, he tries to do the same thing. He's like, he's still not the most coordinated. And so like his little legs just trying to go down the street. It warms my heart to see him like want to do exercise and like want to be a part of that. Because I never
continue as well too. That's going to keep, like, especially as he gets bigger, you'll be able to do all kinds of stuff with him.
Yeah. And so like we've had him in swim class since he was like 6 months old, and we're about to introduce like a soccer kind of class for him as well. Like I said, I never had that, and I want to make sure that like I can break the cycle that I had to fight so hard to get out of, right? Like I can get ahead of it with him.
Nice. I mean, I guess, so one of my questions for everybody, and definitely for you, is like, what's the motivation? I mean, obviously having a 2-year-old is part of it. And
that's a big part, but I mean, a big piece of that is just, I was so tired of seeing, not tired of seeing, like I've been able to be a part of a great community of like people losing weight, especially starting like this dedicated keto page. But I kept on seeing like all these like crazy, awesome, like weight loss transformation things. And I'm like, oh man, like I could never do that. It's so hard. It's so hard. And it's just a matter of that like self-discipline, I guess, and jumping into it. I want to do this for myself, and honestly joining, like being a part of this community and, you know, making recipes and stuff like that, like having my own website, like a lot of those things, um, just keep me on track more
How
so than anything.
how long have you had that website? Your website's amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So it actually, I started it when I got laid off, and I had my resume up there just so it's a little more polished in a job search. And once I got a new job, I'm like, well, I paid for this thing for a year, just thinking like worst case scenario with the job. And so I'm like, I have this keto Instagram page. I went through kind of a rebrand, and I used to just be like Keto Stev on Instagram. So I changed it to Chicken and Chaffles, which is, you know, I feel like a little bit more easier to brand out there. You know what I mean? And so I've only had that website, I want to say, for like 2 or 3 months now. So there's not a huge amount of recipes on there, but all of them are ones that I've made, or other keto kind of community members have made, and I've tried to recreate on there on my end.
It's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I think the recipes. I mean, I it's probably searching for like something like tortilla or something where I find other sites that I end up liking. You know what I mean? Like it seems like the recipe is one of the things that glues it all together. So I mean, it's an awesome thing.
Well, that was the biggest thing, man. I remember a couple months ago, I was at the grocery store looking for like stuff for dinner, and I'm like, oh, you know what sounds good? Like, like some soup or something, right? And I'm like, I wonder how I can make it keto. So I was in the store like looking for like a keto recipe, and had to scroll for like 20 minutes standing there in the aisle looking like an idiot just to like find what I needed. And I was so upset. So I just, like, the whole point of it is just to be straight to the point. Like, here's what you need, here's how to do it, go from there.
Yeah, that's cool. It really is cool. Yeah, I think we probably spend a lot of time figuring out what we're going to buy, and especially now, you're trying to get in and out of the store as fast as possible.
So,
It's like
yeah,
it's weird if you're standing there. Like people, I mean, I'm in Brooklyn. People will definitely skunk eye you if you like clog it up a little bit too long. So I mean,
exactly.
you want to get moving at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So one other question I have for you is like, as far as foods, like what's one of the mainstays, like a must-have item, and also what's a cheat food? Like what's something that you're like, I just have to have it.
So I'm obsessed with eggs. Like I buy I'll probably eat like 2 or 3 eggs a day, like on a conservative number. Like that is, uh, it is so easy to cook, and you can cook them in like 1,000 different ways. Like that is my go-to must-have. And plus, I mean, it's, you know, pretty cost effective for a meal. And so I try to get away from only posting, or like I try to like mix up what I post on Instagram so that it's not just egg after egg dish over and over again, because that's gonna get tired, right? But like my cheat meals, you know, I moved to Austin, Texas, like 2.5 years ago,
Oh,
and
cool.
I love it here, man. The food here is incredible. And anytime I go and have like we have family in town or whatever it is, there's a Louisiana hot chicken place down the street from us called Tumble 22, and I just, anytime anyone like who's never been to Austin, I'm like, we're going here, and I'm gonna have a cheat day. It's gonna be great.
Awesome.
So luckily there hasn't been that much travel. Our friends haven't come out here that that
That's
often,
true.
else I'd be
Actually, you're
there a
having a
lot
good
more
year that
often.
way.
Exactly, able to stay a little more strict.
If you do go there, what do you order? Like, what's the item?
They have the OG sandwich, so it's a nice bun with their hot chicken. You can get it like one of like 6 different levels, and then they have a kale coleslaw that they put on top,
Mm,
and
that's
that
nice.
with a nice cold beer, like it's perfect.
Oh, so that brings me to another question: is do you drink, and if so, how do you manage it?
So I do. You know, it's like part of my childhood. You know, a lot of my family has suffered from alcoholism, so I've tried to keep it, you know, in check in that sense. And so, if I do want something to drink, it's usually like a White Claw or something similar.
Hmm.
Um, my go-to drink when I'm out, that I'm gonna like when I'm gonna stay strict, is to just do a vodka soda with some lime, and real low carb option. Pretty easy, but I mean, when I'm really strict on my diet, alcohol can throw you out of ketosis for a little while. Like you burn that alcohol, you'll go right back. And so I try not to indulge too much on that, and plus when you're a little, after a couple of drinks, it's easier to have a cheat day. You know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt. Inhibitions are definitely they get altered.
Exactly.
Now it's funny. I've heard a lot of different kind of methods about it. I mean, so I told you I had the restaurant before,
Yeah.
so the bar was a big part of it, and I'd have a lot of customers come in and tell me like, I only drink straight whiskey because what I do is I'll work out, say 7 p.m. I'll come in here at 9 p.m., drink straight whiskey until 12 p.m. and hope to spike it and like let it drop back down and then not get totally thrown off. I don't
Yeah.
know how successful people were, to be honest, because for me, that was
Right.
always a problem. It was like, I never really found out a great way to do that. But,
Yeah.
now it's like one of the things I've mentioned this to somebody else I was talking to is one of the things I've done is I've started to drink red wine with ice. And then I make my own soda with no sugar,
Oh, okay.
and I squeeze a
Yeah.
little bit of lime in it. It's like almost what you're doing with vodka, but I do it with wine
Yeah.
because I also promised my wife that I would drink fewer spirits because I get a little
Gotcha.
alcohol. So,
It's so easy, man.
it's easy.
They go down smooth.
I absolutely love straight vodka. I love tequila. I love rum. So I mean, alcohol likes me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So this kind of solves two things because I also I have hypoglycemia, so I have to watch my sugar intake. So that kind of lets
Gotcha.
me do all those things at once. I'm able to measure how much sugar I'm having while having, a certain amount of alcohol without going crazy. And
For sure. Yeah.
it's a pretty good way to do it. And then what's kind of cool, and it's one of my, things all the time, I do it even when I'm eating lunch and stuff, is you chew on the ice. I mean, whether you're having a glass of water or, having a sparkling wine, you chew on the ice and you elongate the process. And I think it helps you digest.
Exactly.
And it helps you feel like it's more satisfying than maybe it is. But
Awesome.
I don't, that's like a hack. I don't know if any of that really, I don't know if that would work for another person. I suggest it, but
yeah. So my wife is a big wine drinker. And so like, I actually might give that a try this weekend.
Go for it. It's funny. So my wife really can't drink that well. So one of the cool things about it is she can drink one or two of those and like, she's not on the floor.
That's good.
So that's
always
another plus.
Good on the floor.
Yeah, it's good. I'm supposed to be the one that's out of control, not her. So another thing I want to ask you is like, you're about a year into it at this point, or like a year into keto diet?
Yeah, a year. It's been just about a full year now that I've been very strict and have really made it a lifestyle change. I had tried the keto diet on and off for, I want to say 2 years, but prior to that, where I'd go strong for like a month and then just to come to like a cheat day and then never go back. Right.
Right.
It was, so it's been almost a full year now. And I mean, like I said, it is more like a state of being for me now. It's not just, like I said, I did this so that I can go and like live life when like we just had family in town this weekend and, we went out and showed them around and all that kind of stuff. And, I didn't necessarily worry so much like, oh, I have to stay in ketosis. Right. Because I know that I've built the skills to, if I do put on a couple pounds, like I've built the skills to get back to where I feel that I want to be. And I mean, ideally I'd like to lose another 20 pounds, but it's something that, when I get there, I get there. I'm not trying to, like I've done like one meal a day for quite a while as well to help kind of get the numbers down. But I don't feel like that's super sustainable long-term.
It's funny. I have so many follow-up questions to that. I saw in your post that, there's a lot of information in there. Got to unpack that a little bit. I saw in your post that you were originally, your goal was to lose 100 pounds. Is that right? Within the year?
It was, yeah. And I didn't make that goal. My goal is still to lose that 100 pounds. I'm right at 80 today.
I mean, 80 is unbelievable. It's great.
It is life-changing for sure. But like I said, there's something about that 100 number that it's a nice, perfect number that you can get to.
Sure.
Ideally, like, and this is, I haven't really publicized this goal before, that I'd like to be like 195, right? I'm a bigger dude. I'm 6'2", but I've never, in my adult life, I've never weighed under 200 pounds.
That's a cool goal. Seriously. At your height, that is like so fit.
So I'd like to get there. Like I said, I don't think that's super sustainable for me. But my ideal weight would be like 215. I think that's where I want to sit. That's where I'd like to kind of stay.
Gotcha. That's cool. Seriously. Yeah. So I mean, to unpack some of that a little more, is that if
Yeah,
you
please
are
do.
with family, like say this weekend, when you finish the visit, how do you kind of get back on track? Like, what's your next step?
So, I mean, yesterday after I went to go pick up my son from daycare, he and I went to the grocery store, and I was able to just to pick out easier foods for me to cook, right? Like great to do like the Keto Brian and myself. I don't know if you've seen his page just yet, but he and I will do like cooking challenges on the weekends, trying to ketoize something that isn't traditionally very ketogenic friendly. So those are fun to do, but it takes a lot of time and planning, and I often mess up, so I have to do it at multiple times. Where when I'm trying to get back into ketosis, I just want to make things that are easy to cook. And so lunch today was just 2 jalapeno cheddar sausages. Each had one net carb, and I know that cool. I will be full until probably like 7 p.m. tonight. Can
Nice.
probably have the other 2 sausages in that pack, and I had a perfectly filling day, and I'm not hungry. I'm not craving. Makes it a little easier.
Yeah. I mean, not craving definitely makes things a lot easier. I have like I kind of lost my train of thought, but I have this like kind of background question to that, which is, I mean,
Sure.
if somebody is, it's all like a motivation question. So like if somebody is, I guess, starting out,
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell them as far as like, how do you jump in? How do you get started? Because
So I've actually been asked that quite a lot by friends and family, coworkers that are interested in starting the keto diet. And the biggest thing that I'll tell them is like, I don't want you to think about the diet for the first week. I want you to simply track what you're eating, because
smart.
I want you to get in that habit of looking at everything you eat. Because man, back in the day, this is what led to me getting so big. I'd have like 2 or 3 20-ounce bottles of Coke, right? That's like one bottle's 2 or 3 days of carbs for me. And I never realized how much sugar I was consuming in an average day.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's
so,
also insane. I mean, there's so much sugar in. My son and I just had lunch together. We were talking about like how much is in a Sprite. We were drinking
yeah,
the Japanese ramune, which
uh-huh,
has 20 grams of sugar.
right.
And then we're like, Sprite probably has maybe 2.5 times that. Like I mean,
It's
and it's a
crazy.
lot. What we had just now is a lot. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
really something. Yeah, that's good advice
So
to have them. Oh, I also want to ask you, how do you,
yeah.
when you're tracking foods, how do you go about finding out how much
Um,
sugar and carbs and stuff they have in them?
so I use an app called Carb Manager.
Yeah, that's a good one.
A lot of people use MyFitnessPal. I like the layout of Carb Manager a little bit more. It's a little easier for me to use.
Okay,
Plus, I can access it online a lot easier.
that's true.
I like their kind of online interface. So when I'm building a recipe, when I'm building something that takes more time and effort to put into it, I can do it on my computer, which is just a little easier format.
Agreed.
But yeah, I mean, all I should say is everyone I've told that's asked me to start the keto diet with them or whatever, I'm like, I don't even want you to think about it. Just track what you eat, get a baseline of where you are today, and then we can start unpacking how to get into keto. The other kind of big tip I have is just drink so much water. Like, go to the bathroom every 10 minutes. Like, just drink so much water. You're gonna you're gonna need it.
It's very good advice. Seriously. Along those lines, like, how often do you check it on yourself, and how do you do that? Like, do you weigh yourself? Do you measure body fat? Like,
Yeah.
what's your ways of kind of managing where you are? And
So Amazon has this scale. It's like by eTech City or something. I get the exact end. But it comes with an app, a company like an app thing for the scale, and it tracks everything. So I'm very driven by data. I like having as many data points as I can have. And this thing, it graphs it all out for you. It tracks how much body water you have, like muscle mass, bone mass, like all these things. I don't know. It seems like a little gimmicky at times. Like how can they know exactly like how much my bone weighs? But you know, that's just the skeptic in me, right? Like, just like, I don't know if I trust it,
I was
but
actually going to ask that.
having
How
those data
accurate
points
is
and
it?
seeing,
It's a good question. I mean, I am curious.
yeah. But having that scale, like I said, it was a cheap one. It was like $30, I think, in total. But since I've only used that scale, I'm able to at least calibrate myself to that scale, right? Like the numbers may be off, but I can at least see, okay, when I do one meal a day, I was able to lose a pound. But I'm also saying that was probably mostly like water weight. I'm able to track these things and understand what's working, what's not. And like I said, I'm obsessed with data and just understanding what's working, what isn't. And so I'm able to track things like that.
I
I
like
don't
that
generally
idea of
recommend that
using a
for everyone getting
baseline.
in.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, I don't generally recommend going that crazy into it when people are just starting, because it can seem very intimidating.
Yeah, and that's one of my questions. How often do you suggest checking in on yourself? Like, weekly, or I think everybody wants to do daily at first and like 3 times a day and be like, I didn't lose anything. What's going on?
I did that, and I was getting discouraged when I did it
Yeah.
daily. And so a couple friends and I just said, all right, no more daily. Like, this is not mentally healthy to check every single day. So we were doing like weigh-in Wednesdays, where we'd just be able to see like on a week-to-week basis where we're going. That was
You were
pretty
doing
helpful,
that
but
with
I mean, quite honestly,
friends?
where I'm at now, I actually,
Sorry, you were doing that with
yeah,
friends, like
so it was
accountably?
the little hashtag that we would do.
Cool. I love it. It's a great
Yeah,
idea.
exactly. So like it was just hashtag weigh-in Wednesday, just everyone just put it out there. I admittedly, I actually haven't even weighed myself in like the last month.
Interesting. It's cool.
I've been super obsessed with like the non-scale victories, and so never in my adult life have I ever fit into a large shirt. I've always been XL or 2XL, and now when I go and buy clothes, it's in large, and I'm wearing a size 36 pants that are often too loose on me. And so like those are the types of things I'm like, all right, I don't necessarily care as much about the number. Like I said, I had the goal of losing 100 pounds, but this is why I've kind of walked away from that as much, because I'm in the best shape of my life today that I ever have been. And I don't necessarily need that number to validate that. I know that I feel better. I look better. I feel stronger than I ever have. Like a lot of these things have fed into that. I'm trying to like keep my ego in check just in general, but yeah, I think the non-scale victories are the better ones.
I think that's such a good way to think about it. It's non-scale victory. I've never heard that expression before. That's genius expression. It's so smart, because everybody I talk to has pretty much the same experience, especially in the first year, which is major success at one point, get completely addicted, but then there's that plateau period. So if you're only looking at the scale, I think that can be very discouraging. But if you're also taking stock of where you are in general, like your clothes fitting and stuff, non-scale victory that makes a ton of sense. Keeps you motivated, keeps you accountable. It's good.
And I mean, I've posted about this on my Instagram, but I love seeing, like, I like doing like the before and after pictures, right? Because when I look at myself in the mirror, I still see myself the way that, like, when I was 320 pounds,
right.
I still visually see myself that way. And I think that goes into just my own kind of self-worth and a lot of other things that, like my self-esteem. And it's so easy to point out the flaws when I look in the mirror, right? But when I see concrete evidence of me a year ago versus me today, I'm like, I did this. I can be proud of this, and it's something that I can't just look in the mirror and dismiss. I can look at this picture and be like, no, this before and after. Like I still accomplished this, no matter if I feel great today or not.
It's really cool. It's seriously inspirational. It's great.
I appreciate that, man.
No, I mean, it's an amazing story. I'm really glad that we're having this chat, because I think my guess is a lot of people, I mean, you see it from your page, a lot of people relate to it. A lot of people, need to see it, need to hear it. And it's really great.
And that's like this page. And like, honestly, my wife makes fun of me that I get like all emotional and sappy on this keto page, because she thinks it's a little silly at times, but
that's good.
Keep
you grounded.
she definitely keeps me grounded on that. she was actually, I've been starting, I was playing with those reels lately, and she went through and recreated them all with my son. And you just have to laugh at yourself, because like I thought I was being funny, but then when I see my son doing the same things, it's just like, okay, he did it better. Like he's better at these. But like I said, my wife kind of makes fun of me at times because I'll get all emotional and sappy and stuff. That like I am so happy to be a part of this community, because when I'm feeling a little low, or I'm just feeling like I'm not seeing the results that I want, whatever it might be, I can look at other people's success and just like, man, like they're doing it, they're killing it, like they've got the motivation, like I can keep up.
Kind of recharge a little bit. So
I
when you say the
can do it.
community, where do you interact with the community? I mean, I know you're on Instagram. I know you're on your website. How else do you interact?
Yeah, that's been primarily it. I've made friends like that Keto Brian. Like I've never met this guy in my life, and he and I have like those keto cook-off challenges. I know he lives in Texas, but that doesn't really mean that we're close. He's still like
No,
a
still a
10
big
hour
state.
drive away. But like it's he's a good friend that I've made. I've made other friends where it's whether it's people interacting with like my stories or reels or like my posts and things, or it's me interacting with theirs. There's a lot of pages that I've come to like really enjoy, and watching like their progress, their humor, their just them kind of following the same thing that I've done, or maybe the other way around, I'm following in the way that they've done it.
Right. I'm actually going to put I'll put Keto Brian in the notes. I'll put a couple other things. I'll put the apps that you mentioned. What's a page that I should put in that's like one of your, like, I love this page?
So Fat Chance Trying.
Okay.
I'm
name.
not sure if you've seen him. He's
I don't think so.
killing it, man. He lost 300 pounds in a year.
Oh my God. Wow.
He's absolutely killing it. And
I got to reach out to him for the show as well then.
Yeah, man. There's just the way that he's so transparent about it. And
so are you though. I mean, that's one of my first, things
yeah,
I noticed.
like I said, I try to look at things in a certain light, right? Like it's a serious thing, people taking control of their health and going about it, but it's also it can be fun, it can be hard, it can be tough, and just acknowledging those things I think are what keeps people going. And so I would definitely check his page out if you haven't. I mean, he has like thousands more followers than I think I ever will, but he's a cool dude. And I haven't even interacted with him entirely that much, but just watching his story and watching his journey on this has been cool.
It's cool. Also, another question I never asked you is, when you're working out, do you work out with anybody, or are you working out by yourself?
I just do it pretty much by myself. Like I said, my son will join in every now and again.
Right.
He's 2.5, but I think he likes to make fun of me. And so he'll do push-ups and then he's like giggling to himself. And I'm like, oh man, you're kind of a jerk. But like with the COVID pandemic and all that kind of stuff, it's just been at home workouts primarily. Trying to get I've always been bad at cardio. Like I mentioned, I had asthma, or have asthma since I was like 5 or 6, something like that. And so running doesn't come easy to me. And like when I first started, my mile time was like close to 12 minutes, and I was able to get that down to like 8.
That's pretty good.
And I'm like, I don't think it's ever been that low, even in high school. But yeah, just trying that now. I'm trying to make sure that like at least once a week I'm doing like a 5K. I haven't posted as much on the workout stuff recently. I'm trying to find out what content I want to put out there, but it's been fun just like challenging myself. I've never really gotten into that as much.
Would you say your asthma has backed off because of the weight loss, or is it basically the same?
Oh, everything's gotten better, man. I've said this before. I don't know exactly when the heartburn started or stopped, rather, because like I said, at my biggest, man, every night I had to hit a bottle of Tums a couple times just so I could fall asleep. I haven't had heartburn a single day since I really got into keto.
It's really interesting. I had a very similar experience to you with that, because I had really bad heartburn, and I think it's around when I realized I was hypoglycemic, so I had to decrease my sugar just drastically, pretty much overnight. And I think that's when that started to dissipate. Like I wouldn't bet my life on that, but that's kind of how I feel about it.
Sure.
And it
Yeah,
definitely,
and
they definitely went together. Like there's definitely a relationship.
my asthma has definitely gotten a lot better. Just, I mean, I feel, I mean, like, everyone says this on keto, but like the mental clarity, right? Like that's a big thing, especially since I work from home, and so it can be really easy to get distracted.
Of
And
course.
so
Yeah.
having that mental clarity and just being able to focus on things that like I may not necessarily want to do, but yeah, like every aspect of my life I feel like has improved because of it.
It's really cool. The last thing I want to ask you really is how, like, what's your future goal? It's kind of two-part question. I mean, it depends on how you feel, which is what are your goals going forward, but also like, how do you plan to go through, if you hit the wall or if you have another obstacle, like you've already blown through obstacles. If you're in that situation again, how will you handle that? Like, what would you
Down
do?
here.
Are we still here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You
Okay,
kind of
cool.
froze up for a second.
Uh, Same on my end. So I think I heard most of the question there. But goals moving forward, like I said, I'd like to get under 200 pounds, even if it's just for like an afternoon. And I get there, like, hey,
That's
I'm in
fine.
Wonderland. That's where I want to be.
Yeah, it's great. Especially, I mean,
Uh,
like you said, I like how your goal is like way under where you think you'd like to, be. So I mean, it's kind of
yeah.
really cool way to do it.
So kind of explore and see what I have to do. Like I said, I know all the pieces to it. It's just a matter of doing it and seeing it through. So like one meal a day, I think is the best way that I've found to kind of break through those plateaus. Because I was plateaued honestly for a couple months at like 248. I was at
Mm.
248 for a long time, and now I set about 235. And so just kind of the next step down. And so that's kind of my goal, is just to take these steps down and get there. Like I said, I feel like I'm at a point now where I am happy with how I look and a lot of that stuff, but there's always room for improvement. Um, I jokingly posted about this the other day, saying, I used to be so uncomfortable in my skin, like I still am. I used to be as well, but I don't know if I like it's slowly getting better. Where like I used to avoid looking in the mirror all the time. Like I never wanted to see what I look like. Now, like I don't necessarily mind it. Like my phone is blowing up with like selfies of myself, and it's all vain. It's all silly. But I think that just speaks to like my self confidence is growing, and I'm able to feel more like myself. And so
It's amazing.
yeah, that all that kind of stuff feeds into just being able to stay on track. And it can be so easy to let a bad day kind of ruin it and go have like a pint of ice cream or whatever it is. But I know that that's not worth it. And like you're gonna get real instant gratification, but then like I'm gonna feel like terrible the next day. And so I don't want to borrow happiness from tomorrow. Let's just
Yeah,
save
no,
it.
it's really smart. It's a great way of looking at it. Is your wife also on keto, or is it
She's not.
you and she's? I mean, she's obviously gonna be
She'll
influenced because you're eating
Yeah,
together.
she'll do some low carb meals here and there. But I mean, really, and I don't know, like, I haven't done research on it, but like, I don't want my son to be keto. Like, I don't think that's right for his age. And
Right.
so,
I haven't done research
um,
on for kids either. Like we have our kids. I have two kids. We have them.
yeah,
They don't eat a high sugar diet, but that's about it. That's like
yeah,
a
and that's what we
couple
try and do for
common
our,
sense
our son as
things.
well. It's just limit sugar, and he actually just tried candy for the first time like a month ago from swim class. Gave him like a little lollipop.
He's like it's like being drunk.
Exactly, yeah. Um, but yeah, it's I have really gotten into cooking since starting all this, like, especially with quarantine. Like, there's nowhere else to go, so
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I've really gotten into cooking with that. And yeah, it's easy for me to like make something that's keto for me, and then my wife can make like a side, and then we're all gonna have dinner together. I just won't have mashed potatoes or mac and cheese, whatever it might be on the side.
Right. Oh, that's cool. That makes sense. So part of the meal you're sharing, and then part of it.
Yeah,
Do you ever make keto tortilla?
I haven't made that actually just yet. I want to try and make like a keto bread, And like with that, I think tortilla could be cool. I buy some store-bought ones every now and again when I'm
Which one's
craving
the
it. But
Mission? Is that the brand?
Mission, yeah, Mission's
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
There's a couple different brands out here in Texas that have some low carb options. The grocery store out here called HEB, they have a bunch of keto friendly or low carb friendly foods in general. That
See, that's cool, and that's got to just be increasing as far as like the amount of variation, the amount of options. I think we're just like beginning to get some of that. I'd never seen like low carb tortilla until recently, so I mean,
really, yeah,
it blows my mind. My
it's
first,
awesome, man.
we lived in South Korea when we first started this, my wife and I. So it's like
Oh wow,
the first time we did a round, we called them cycles. It's probably 2009.
mm,
So the combination of being in a country that has a few less options and also just the time period, it was a
sure.
lot harder to find stuff.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So that was one of the issues. But I mean, that's kind of getting better and better. And then, like, what's incredible, I was telling you, like, searching for foods, how I found people is that if you go on Instagram and type in keto tortilla, you get like hundreds and hundreds of recipes just rolling down. I mean, it's
Yeah,
unbelievable. There's so much
there's a
out
lot
there.
to find now, and it's awesome that the community has grown as much as it has. Um, it's cool to see. Like I said, I've only been really into it for about a year, but I feel like there's more options now than there ever has been.
Yeah, I think that's true. Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, I should let you go. This has been amazing, Steve. Like your story it's wild, and just your presentation is hilarious. It's great. I think people are going to absolutely love hearing what you have to say. It's an amazing story. So thank you
Awesome. I
so much
appreciate
for your
that.
time. It's
Of course, man.
unbelievable. I'll put all your contact stuff in the show notes. That way people can find you and actually see how funny you are as well. So
Appreciate that.
so
I'll let
thanks
my
so
wife know that
much.
you said it too.
Yeah, please. I know what it's like.
Awesome,
My
man.
wife doesn't think
Have a
I'm
good one.
funny at all.
All right, man.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
Take care. You too. Thanks. Guys, that was an amazing show, wasn't it? So thank you to Stephen Downer. What an inspirational and incredible story. And just, everything about him is really quite fun and funny. So look below to the show notes. You'll see some of the stuff he suggested, some of the people he suggested, like Keto Brian, who he cooks with. And you'll also see some of the apps, the Carb Tracker app. And of course, check out Steve's page because he's hilarious. Check out both his website and also his Instagram, where he's got some incredible content, really funny stuff. So awesome. I hope you all enjoyed that. Any questions, let me know in the comments or contact me directly. It's Cell Lab Slim with periods between Cell Lab and Slim. And of course, find me on Instagram, YouTube, wherever. We're all over the place, Cell Lab Slim. So, we always like to get involved and chat with everybody. So by all means, get in touch and look for the next episode. I hope you really enjoyed today. I know I did. I thought it was great. So talk to everybody soon. Guys, thanks for watching. Please go ahead and click the little circle over there and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this content. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for all your support.